Is not good news from the White House Homeland Security Advisor. We spoke to her yesterday here on American Morning. Fran Townsend warning that Al-Qaeda wants to launch a mass casualty attack in the United States.
The question, of course, is can a reconstituted Al-Qaeda pull it off? Tom Foreman joins us now with some raw reality. Are people really worried about this?
Well, you know, here's the thing. We've heard so many warnings like this since 9/11. The White House, of course, is sounding these warnings again. They're saying you need to pay attention. Something might really happen. But we've heard this over and over and over again. And the result is, you know, people really are becoming very lukewarm about this because they've heard it so much. Look at some of the numbers here. A recent Gallop poll says only about 1 in 10 Americans believes that there is very likely going to be an attack in the near future. 31% say it's only somewhat likely, 42% say not too likely, and 16% say it's not likely at all, despite all these warnings. So, in the spirit of our upcoming YouTube debate, we sent our intrepid interns out once again to ask people what they thought the likelihood of a terrorist attack was on the United States.
I'll say a no for this summer, but I'm not sure in the future.
Every time I ride the train under Times Square, I think about it. I think this would be the perfect place. If I were a terrorist, this is where I would go. But I have no idea. I haven't talked to Osama bin Laden this summer.
Yeah, that's the problem for all of them. All of the candidates are facing a country that does not necessarily believe the war on terror is going well. Just ask them who they think is winning. 29% say we are. Half say no one is winning the war on terror. 20% say the terrorists are winning. So when YouTube debate kicks off on Monday, it's going to be awfully interesting to see if any candidate can somehow break through that and answer these questions in a way people believe, because I think the boy who cries wolf. Homeland Security can say they've solved a lot of these problems, and I think they really have.
And there are some people who are wondering, and these mostly come from the Democratic side, that all of this talk about terrorism and then linking it with Iraq, is this all just a very convenient way of trying to sell the Iraq war this summer?
Well, when you look at the raw politics of it, this is the thing. And look, no matter which side you're on, we know this part of the conversation is very cynical. You know, on one side, you have some Republicans who whisper that Democrats, well, there's some of the Democratic Party who don't want the war to go well now because they get such political advantage of it. That certainly doesn't speak of most Democrats. Neither does the converse speak true. There are some Democrats who sort of whisper, yeah, well, the White House wants to scare everybody now so that they can somehow justify the war. But people still whisper that a little bit because right now there's such a political fight over this, and the stakes are so very high.
Huge.
All right, Tom Foreman, thank you.
Good seeing you.
Well, the battle begins again. Cities and states going head-to-head over federal money. It's being doled out by Homeland Security to fight terror. Who should get it and why? We're going to tell you what cities are happy with the decision and what cities are boiling mad this morning. We're going to get a live report coming up next on American Morning. Terror watch now. Last year it was the subject of a lot of controversy, and this year it's no different. Just which American cities are getting the most money from Homeland Security to fight terror and which ones are getting shorted. The state that raked in the grants this time around seems to be Arizona, and not everyone's happy about it. American Morning's Chris Lawrence is live now in Glendale, Arizona, where I'm sure they're thrilled with how the feds doled out the money this year.
Exactly. It's a Phoenix suburb, and Phoenix officials say they need every dollar that they got, especially since they're hosting the Super Bowl right here next year. But this is turning into a real battle between those who believe that major international cities, think London, New York, D.C., Madrid, are the most likely targets for terrorist attacks, and others who say smaller areas like Glasgow and Oklahoma City are just as likely to get hit. Los Angeles International, Chicago skyscrapers, and New York bridges. Think of them as Homeland Security's children, and Michael Chertoff is the parent trying to keep them all satisfied and safe.
My job is about hard choices.
Chertoff decides who gets more or less money, and this year Arizona was the big winner. Tucson went from off the list to $5 million, and Phoenix tripled its allocation to $12 million.
This is a mayor of the 5th largest city that is very happy.
But like previous years, some bigger city mayors are crying foul.
But I think the mistake that is always made is confusing where you're vulnerable to where you're likely to be attacked.
Looking at the numbers, New York actually gained $10 million over last year. Contrast that to those who lost money, like Chicago. Boston officials are boiling at their cutbacks, and there's nothing laid back about LA's response.
The practice of awarding Homeland Security dollars based on any consideration other than risk has got to stop.
Risk is actually number 2. Population carries the greatest weight in where the dollars go. And this year, a new index accounts for cities like Phoenix that are close to the border or have military bases nearby. It's also home to the nation's largest nuclear power plant.
130 was at a rescue code 203.
I spoke with Phoenix's emergency management coordinator about why his city lost so much funding last year only to get it back now.
And they simply prepared us for this. There will be years in which you will get less money. We didn't think we would get that much less money, but we did. And
but they told you they'd make it up to you this year.
They told us that if we were patient, that they hoped to make it up to us this year or soon.
Now, that money can upgrade bomb squads and pay for surveillance cameras and communication systems. Washington, D.C. got a big increase, but officials there and in New York City are still pushing for a system based solely on risk. Kieran?
All right, Chris Lawrence live for us in Glendale, Arizona. Thanks.